Hello, everybody. This is Aquataser, and I just got some news from the Furina mains Discord about Furina's kit changes, and so I'm just gonna make a quick video, kind of talking about it and kind of showing off what I'm gonna hope to have as a build for her, and just kind of breaking down her kit, uh, just for anybody that would like to know or maybe doesn't pay attention to leaks as deeply. Um, this is just some stuff I think is pretty interesting. Um, First off, I do want to say, obviously, if you don't want to hear leaks about Farina or anything with that, maybe my discussion isn't going to be the most insightful, then don't watch this video. But otherwise, we'll just get into it. Alright, so looking at her leaks now, what I'm seeing is C0 minimal change. They changed the amount on base, or sorry, per level up that her ultimate gives in terms of damage bonus per fanfare stack, which it ends up being the same at talent level 10, and actually the change makes it higher at talent level 13. So if you do decide to go for, I think it's C3, it's either C3 or 5, whichever one. If you do decide to go for that, then it actually what's it called? It makes it so that you're gonna get higher damage percent per fanfare stack than you would before this change. At C1, the fanfare limit. Typically, it is a buff or an immediate 150 fanfare stacks, at least before the change. And now it's going to be the same there, but it's going to lower the maximum amount of fanfare stacks from 450 to 400. So it's honestly fairly significant. You're losing 50. Sorry about the Discord notification. You're losing 50 fanfare stacks at max, which is obviously not ideal. But depending on how our C2 is going to work, this is kind of significant. So your C2 previously was going to give a 200% damage, or not damage, sorry, fanfare stack gain. So every one stack that you would get, you would actually get 3 stacks instead. Is essentially how I look at it, because it's a 200% gain, meaning you're getting an extra 2 stacks per 1% HP lost per character on your team. However, they've buffed that now from 200% to 250%. Now keep in mind this is a C2, so it kind of makes sense. However, the issue with this is that even with this buff, they lowered, one, the amount of maximum stacks you can have, which is now 400, which means you're not actually going to get as much damage percent as quickly. They did also nerf her overflow stacks, which I believe, I don't remember what the actual number is, but it was fairly high. I think you could get up to about 140% extra HP if you're able to get that many stacks on her during her burst duration, based off the second part of her C2. However, they changed it from overflow fanfare stacks giving her 0.4% HP per overflow stack. It is now 0.35% HP. Honestly, I don't really know how to feel about these changes. I feel bad about the C1 change. I think the maximum limit decrease is actually kind of important if you're playing a team like New Viet or any teams like that, because the Fontaine characters could decrease and heal themselves so much that she's actually going to be able to reach those stacks, I would assume, fairly reliably. Other characters might not be able to, such as Hu Tao or other characters, but it's a bit of a nerf in my opinion. If you're going for just C1 Furina, obviously the immediate 150 stacks is very nice. It's like a 35%, I think, damage bonus just right off the rip, but I'm kind of disappointed with this. The C2 buff and nerf, I mean, it's a C2, so like, I really don't know. The good news about the C2 is you're going to be able to get more stacks more reliably. So you could, I think I said this in my previous Hu Tao build video, but I would assume you'd be able to get up to max stacks fairly quickly with this buff, or rather the last beta change, and now with this buff as well. But the maximum stacks being limited or lowered is not good, and the HP buff for Furina herself is also not good. C3, burst level 13, so that's good. C3 is the more accessible one. That's pretty good. Her C5 is just going to be the skill damage bonus. And they also changed, and I kind of said this before, they changed the scaling per level. So now at C3, you're going to get 0.31% damage bonus per fanfare stack. So pretty solid. I mean, if you think about that, I'm just gonna pull up my calculator here and do some quick math. Say you're getting about, let's say you get 400 stacks. 400 times 0.0028 for 0.28%, you're gonna get 112% damage at 400 stacks, right? So if you make that 0.31% gain per stack, you get 0.0031 times 400 at max stacks, 0.24. So you're gaining about, I think, what was that, 13 or 12% damage bonus from C3. So obviously that's not going to be a immediate increase or anything like that, but it is something to think about. It's not insignificant. It's probably not as great as other burst levels on C3, but hey, it's there. And then our C6. I'm trying to make sense of this. I think this is saying that her C6 healing is buffed from 3 to 4%, and then her infusion damage bonus from her HP is buffed from 15 to 20%. Honestly, it's still kind of meh. Like, I don't know. Back when her Hydra Infusion was her C2, I still thought it was pretty bad. And now that it's a C6, it's terrible. And the fact that they buffed it just a tiny bit really doesn't feel good to me. The reason why is because her C6, as it is now, I believe, I could be wrong, so if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. I believe it has 7 hits of the Hydra Infusion or 10 seconds, whichever comes first, which means you're only getting 7 hits of that buff. So playing her on field still isn't really possible unless you use a character like Candace, who can give you a Hydra application, give you extra Hydra damage, but even then it's just not really worth running. So I don't know. I really don't like this, honestly. I don't know. I don't like these changes. I don't think she needed them. She was fine as she was. In terms of synergy, I don't think this changes anything. The only thing it may change is just making non-Fontaine teams more viable, which I'm kind of a fan of. I mean, I was kind of a fan of that anyways, because I want to play her through Tau. But even in like a Nilo DPS team, because I like using Nilo, I've got her double crowned because I do plan on getting her C6 eventually. It's going to take a while, but I mean, it's going to make it easier in a team where you're not having Fontaine characters like Viviette who are going to decrease their HP by like 50% and then heal up. That would just give you such massive stack amounts on Furina, where other characters just can't do that. So I'm happy that C2 is at least going to give you more stacks, but I don't think the C1 change was necessary, and I don't think the HP decrease was necessary either, because one of the big things about Furina that we found out is that there is a lack of the damage bonus carrying over between bursts. And I think this is something I talked about in my last video. We still weren't sure at the time whether or not her fanfare stack bonus would carry over between bursts because of the cooldown reduction. If nobody understands what happened there, but previously, I believe her cooldown was 18 seconds and the burst duration was 18 seconds. They nerfed, or not nerfed, sorry, buffed, big buffed, her cooldown, skill cooldown. Sorry, it's really late. Her skill cooldown, they made it 15 seconds instead of 18 seconds, which means that theoretically, you could have had a permanent burst up time. And because of the way the kit was phrased at the time, people weren't sure whether that casting her burst again would reset the fanfare stacks. And if in the case of not resetting the fanfare stacks, it would have been unbelievably broken. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So I really don't think she needs these nerfs. But we'll see how it all plays out. I think there's still one more week of the beta cycle until we figure out what's going to happen there. But regardless, it's just going to make her synergy probably at C2 better with other characters outside of Fontaine, which I can appreciate. I would prefer they kept it the same, but it is what it is. In terms of my Furina build, I was looking at a damage chart for weapons, and I believe it goes signature weapon R5, of course, is the best. Signature weapon R1. Oh, I forgot to mention. Her signature weapon, they buffed, supposedly, I gotta say this, they buffed her weapon. Previously, it would get, I believe, 12% HP at R1 per stack that you build on it. and now it is 14%. So it's going to end up being about a 4% increase in the HP, which isn't insignificant, but it's not too crazy. Your signature weapon is still kind of meh. In terms of my build for her and what kind of weapons are good for her, signature is still her best weapon. Pretty close behind it, I think it's like 4 to 6% worse, is Jade Cutter at R1 than her signature weapon at R1. Jade Cutter giving HP is just insane. 44 crit rate is also insane. It's the same total crit value as her signature weapon. The only difference you're losing is the skill damage bonus, and that's why it's not so far behind. After Jade Cutter, I believe it is Kiev Kajna Suit. I have this weapon. I use it on Nilo. I also use it on Kirara, and I also use it on Kuki. I use it on everybody. As you can see, I had this wolf thing on my Nilo. I've been leveling it, but I had this on Nilo, and I swapped it onto Nilo to test what my Furina build would be. So this weapon is going to be her third best. The only way it's going to be her third best, though, at least from what I was looking at, is if you are going to run ER Sands, because her ER requirements are actually pretty high still, even with the burst cost reduction and the cooldown reduction. Those kind of cancel out, actually, and they make it so you have to have similar ER to before, but still a little bit less. I think it's going to be like 160 to 170 if you're not running any Fav users. So keep that in mind. And that's why people are saying that the fishing weapon in Fontaine, the pipe or ferryman's something, is going to be one of her better weapons. So yeah, if you're going to run you basically have to run an ER Sands on her, unless you have just insane substats. If you're not running an ER weapon, so something like Key, something like where is it? Wolf Fang, like I said before. Actually, I didn't say this before. This is going to be one of her better weapons as well at R5. It just gives you crit rate, gives you elemental skill damage. Just significant for her. The only issue is, like I said, you do need ER. And so that's where her artifacts come in. I've been very lucky. I've been farming this domain literally every single day since it has come out. Multiple resin refreshes. Like, let me just show you. I have refreshed like 4 times today. Like, this is what I'm doing. I am going all out on this domain because so many characters want these artifacts. I'm putting them on my Hu Tao, as my previous video said. I want them for Furina. I want them for Official. I just want these artifacts. I think this is basically the new emblem, at least for the characters that are coming out so far. These are the stats I'm going to have on her. Now, this one's kind of debatable, or the artifacts I'm going to have on her. This one's kind of debatable. I do use it on my Official. The other alternatives just aren't very good. Like, this is a bad piece. This is an alright piece for Furina specifically because of the HP percent, but I do just want the crit because I want to build her really well. This could be better, but it's still good. And this is the one I have in my Official, so I'm basically keeping some ER and sacrificing a little tiny bit of crit damage. I'm fine with that. Other than that, I got this piece today. I won't use it though because I do need the crit rate. This piece is alright, but still not ideal. And this piece is bad. It would be good on maybe Official or maybe Yamiko, but otherwise, I guess you could use it on Nahida too, because I forgot she uses this set, but otherwise it's not too important. I'm very lucky. This is a very good ER Sands. It's offset, obviously, but I'm very lucky that I have this piece. Previously it was on my Raiden, but I have this piece I can put on my Raiden. This one is both better in crit value and has HP percent, so I'm going to use this on for no questions asked, immediately. I do also have this one on set. Theoretically, I could use it, but personally, I'm just going to take the HP percent. Maybe I'll end up using this one on set because I don't have anybody else to use it, but we'll just see. We'll see what happens. And then in terms of, I also have this piece. The only reason I would ever use this piece though, and this is kind of the issue with HP percent weapons, or sorry, HP percent Sands, is that they don't really get a lot of use because not a lot of characters both scale off HP and use these certain sets. So for instance, like Hu Tao could use an HP Sands. Like if I could use, this is my best piece on my account by the way. If I could use this HP Sands on my Hu Tao, I would love life. Or maybe on my Yelon. The issue is I have no onset goblets. That's always the problem. If you have an onset goblet, you're so lucky. I don't have any for anything. So, yeah, this is probably why I'll use this piece. Although, if I really want to, I will use this one. The only issue is I just don't have a really broken HP goblet that I can use, because on Key of Kajna Suit, if you are running an ER Sands, people have done the math that are way smarter than me. You are supposed to use an HP goblet. HP goblet actually gives you more damage than using a Hydro goblet. So in that case, I will be using this onset HP goblet. It's not perfect, but it's better than, running something else. So I'll use this. I also just don't have any good Hydro goblets, and of course not on set, so like this is my other one on set. This one's good for official though, obviously. So yeah, that's that, and then I'm gonna be using this crit damage circlet. This could be better, but the ER is useful. I'll have probably too much ER, but that's not a problem. I'm okay with having too much. It's always better to have too much than too little. I do have this piece, which is good, and I have this piece, which is really good, compared to other options, at least for official. That's why I use it on her. But I do want to use this piece, because if you look at the overall stats, 47.8 to 184.5 with 175 recharge, and theoretically, if I 90 this weapon, I will be at about, I want to say about 50k HP, because I think you get an extra 6% here, so it'll definitely be close. And that's, like I said, with 175 ER. And Furina does this on with crit rate, so I will be at, I think she, is it 19%? It can't be 19%. I'm gonna Google this. Okay, so it turns out it actually is 19%. It's 19.2% crit rate she ascends with, so I will actually be at a flat, gosh, it's late, I gotta do math. 67%, right? Yeah, I think that's right. 67%. So 67 to 184.5, 175 recharge with about 50k HP once I 90 the weapon, and I think she also has higher. Oh yeah, she has higher base HP as well, so it'll actually probably be about 51k HP. So yeah, I think my build's looking pretty good. I have very, very good luck in terms of just what's it called, artifacts on this set. Although, like I said, I have been farming it for a very long time. If we go to my official build real quick, let me switch my artifacts back. I think I had this one. No, I had this one, but it's whatever. This one, this is my really good sands. This one. If you look at my official build with first grade magic, we got 56 to 226. Obviously, crit rate could be better, but keys just haven't gone that way. So I have very, very good golden troop pieces. My Marechaussee, what is it? Marechaussee, I think is what somebody in the comments said, so thank you, shout out to them. Marechaussee, I think it's Marechaussee. Maybe it is Marechaussee, I don't remember. Either way, I'm trying my best. Yeah, I have pretty good artifacts on this set, so TLDR, I think these changes are bad. I do not support them. Not everybody's going to be pulling for C2. People do want to pull for C1. It's a fairly low investment constellation for a character they may like. The issue with her C1 is that nerf is going to actually affect a lot of teams, especially if you don't get her C2. Because that HP or that max value stack decrease is just not good. I don't know why they would do that. Maybe just for balancing Nuviet and maybe other Fontaine characters, but overall, not a fan of it. So, yeah, I guess it is what it is. If I get her C2, we'll find out, I guess. Maybe I'll record me doing the pulls. I've never done that before, but I'm very excited for Furina. If I do get her C2, I'm going to be pretty happy, but otherwise, if I only go for C0 or maybe C1, it would definitely not be ideal. And in that sense, thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you on the next one.